Hello everyone, welcome to my presentation. I am not sure which problem I'm supposed to do. I've reached out to some of the other classmates and my professor, and no one was able to respond in time, and it is due tonight. So I went ahead and just picked a problem. I picked a problem that at the beginning of the semester, I was having kind of a tough time trying to get my head to wrap around it. So hopefully this will help, anybody who is kind of struggling with this. I decided to go over the balance sheet. For some of you, it might be simple, but for some others like me, it was kind of hard to wrap my head around. As you can see, I've already done this one for this week, but I'm still going to go through every step and explain. And again, if you have questions, just ask away in the group that we are supposed to turn these into. So to begin with, it shows prepare the classified balance sheet at August 31st. List current assets in order of liquidity. So we know that the balance sheet is made for that month specifically at one time. So the option for August 31st, 2017 is the option that needs to go there. The next step is the assets. This is listed here, so we know that assets is the first step part of a balance sheet. So we know current assets is the number one thing to do right there. We go up here. These are all the numbers that they've given us for the trial balance. We can see it before the adjustment and after the adjustment. We are going to be making the balance sheet based off of the numbers that are after the adjustment because those are the most recent. So you can see here cash for 10,930. We know cash is the most liquid form to put on the balance sheet. So we're going to go cash 10,930. We'll scroll down. We'll enter in cash there, and we'll enter in that 10,930. The next line item, I guess, is of liquidity is the accounts receivable. So we roll up, and accounts receivable is, now I forgot which one I put. 9,250. Yes. Okay. So yeah, like I said, we're basing all the numbers based off of the after adjustment numbers. So the accounts receivable is 9,250. We'll scroll down, put 9,250. Supplies is next. Out of supplies and prepaid insurance, supplies is more liquid than prepaid insurance. So supplies is next. That number is 1,100. Double check right there. 1,100. And the last current asset is prepaid insurance of 2,950. So scroll down, 2,950 right there. So you can see that we have all the current assets listed, and the numbers are there. So we need to add up the current assets to the total current assets. So all of those added up together, 10,930, 9,250, 1,100, and 2,950 equals 24,230. So that is our total current asset number. The next line is property, plant, and equipment. And these are included in the assets because we own them. So the first step is to get the equipment price. We can go up here, and it is 16,430. And we can see that there was no adjustment made on either one, but again, we're basing all of our numbers on the after the adjustment. So we get 16,430. We put that for the equipment. That's the amount of equipment we have. And as we know, the longer we have equipment, depreciation happens, and that lowers the price. So we are going to less the depreciation. There's two options there. There's less or add, and depreciation is taking away that value. So we less the accumulated depreciation equipment. So we roll up to get that number, and we can see that is 4,897. And as you can see, that is on the credit side. So we take that number, scroll down, we put it there. So as we have the 16,430 of the original value of the equipment, and then we have the depreciation value of 4,897. So what we need to do is subtract the equipment or the depreciation of the equipment from the value of the equipment to get the true value of that equipment after the depreciation. So we subtract 16,430, subtract 4,897, we get 11,533. So we have our total current assets up here and our plant and equipment number right there. As we can see, we're at the very bottom and we need to add up everything and get our total assets amount. So we go to 24,230 plus or add 11,533. We combine those to get a total assets number of 35,763. Later down the road, after we fill all these out, a good way to check is to see if your total assets, of course, equals your total liabilities and stockholders' equity. Right now is a little, obviously a bad time to compare because we don't have anything per se because we haven't gone through these. But later down the road, I'll come back to this. So to start out the liabilities section, what comes first, liabilities or stockholders' equity? We know liabilities come first. So we need our current liabilities. We need to fill our current liabilities just like we did our current assets up here. So we need to scroll all the way up to the numbers they've given us. And we see, and again, this is in liquidity form. So we see our accounts payable, and we're lucky, sorry, I'm kind of going all over the place, but we're lucky that each of these has been, listed, and we kind of just go down the row. So the first one is accounts payable for 5,170. So we scroll down and we get accounts payable for 5,170. And the next one is salaries and wages payable. And we see at the beginning there was 0, but we made an adjustment of 1,280. And again, this is the number we need to, I don't know what happened to my recording, but let's start back up. We were on salaries and wages payable of 1,280. Again, 1,280, it's right there. We'll scroll down and we will enter that in for salaries and wages payable. And the next one, and the last current liability, is the unearned rent revenue for 1,400. So we scroll up and we see that the 1,400 is right there in the after adjustment column. So we select that number and put it there. And like I said, that was the last current liability. We can tell kind of by the layout of, of these. So we add all those up to get the total current liabilities, the 5,170 from the accounts payable, the 1,280 from salaries and wages payable, and the 1,400 from the unearned rent revenue, and those all add up to be 7,850. So this is our first part of the liability and stockholders equity section, our total current liabilities. So we scroll up to all the numbers that they've given us, and we can see that we don't have any more liabilities to list because we have done all of our assets, and the only things left are common stock and retained earnings, which are on the stockholders equity section of the balance sheet. So we have all of our liabilities listed, and we get to stockholders equity. There's a few options. It's the same options as all of these ones were. And again, I've already done this one. So we select the stockholders equity as the last part of the balance sheet. We know that the common stock is part of the stockholders equity. So we get the common stock for 13,210. They give right there. We scroll down, we enter that in. The last step is the retained earnings. Now this one is a little different because we scroll up and there's a line item for retained earnings of 5,960. But that is not the number we need to use in the step above the balance sheet is the retained earnings statement. And hopefully another student will be going through this one to explain, but we need to use this number, the retained earnings of August 31st, 2017. And you guys can, for one of you guys, answer, why do we use this number instead of this number up here in the balance sheet? Maybe some of you can answer and shed some light on that. So this is the number that we need to use. So we scroll down, we enter that into the retained earnings section. Now we need to add up all of our stockholders' equity because we can see there's only 2 line items in that section. So we need to get the total stockholders' equity and enter in that value right there. So we add 13,210 and add 14,703, and we get 27,913. So this is where everything is coming to an end, and hopefully everything should be adding up. We have our total current liabilities and our stockholders' equity, and we know that the equation is current liabilities, or total liabilities, plus total stockholders' equity equals assets. So what we need to do is just, add them together. 7,850 plus 27,913, and that equals 35,763. And we can see both our total liabilities and stockholders' equity and our total assets equal out. So we can see that we have done it right. When they do not add up, it's an easy way to obviously know that it's not right and not turn it in until we have solved the math and see how they even out. Another easy way to kind of check your work if you're still off by a little bit is to kind of work backwards. If let's say we know for sure our assets are totally correct. We've gone through it a couple times and we know the assets are equals 35,763. And we are just kind of curious on the retained earnings. Like I said, that one can gotta be confusing. And I think this is actually how I solved this equation out. I knew that the total current liabilities were 7,850, and I knew the common stock was 13,210, and I knew the total assets equaled 35,760. So obviously, again, I knew. Sorry, I keep saying I knew, but the total liabilities had to equal the total assets. So I entered in that number, and I took this number and subtracted the 7,850 and the 13,210 to equal the 14,703. But this number is up here. But that was an easy way for me, up here. This is where that number was. That is another easy way to kind of backtrack and calculate and see where your numbers are off to have everything line up. And once everything lines up, it is a happy day for everyone because all the stress is taken off and everything is matching perfectly. And that is how you fill out a balance sheet with adjustments being made. You always use the most recent numbers after the adjustments. Again, hopefully, another student hasn't gone through this question where both of us will be going through this, but I tried my best and did my due diligence in trying to figure out what to do for this assignment. And hopefully you guys have learned as much as I have. I think teaching, something that you're not totally comfortable with is a great way to learn. And hopefully we can all learn from each other. And I will watch for your questions and comments in our discussion board this week. Thank you guys so much, and good luck this semester. Bye.